As is tradition with this channel, I'm starting the Mazda MX30 review at a fast charge point. There's a reason behind that though, this one, because, well, first of all, this has a very small battery. So it's 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, which is probably one of the smallest ones I've tested since I started reviewing electric cars, really, which is now like 10 years since I started reviewing electric cars. But this one has that, it's quite a small battery in it. Now, Mazda are betting on the fact that you won't need to worry about that because you will be just doing less mileage. That's the gamble at the moment. It's also kind of city driving. You know, there's an element of wanting to make sure that you can get around a city, and the commute every day is usually quite short. Most people in Europe don't commute much more than 30 kilometers in a whole day. So, well, a 35 kilowatt battery will do you fine. Estimated range, I'm getting like 175 kilometers. Give or take. That's quite low. It felt weird the other day driving down from Dublin on the motorway and getting home from a full tank. It said 150 kilometers on the guessometer, but from a full tank, I just a little over a quarter of a tank left after coming on the motorway at full speed. I don't drive an electric car like, you know, real quiet. I drive it like I would normally drive a business unit. Anyway, I'm charged this up because I want to see actually what it's like around the town on a charge, stop, start, traffic. A few details about the car before we go any further though. Let's have a look at why Mazda has particularly made this car vegan interior, cork, wooden, renewable, everything inside. The Mazda MX30 is available with two premium interior options. Of course, you have plenty of interior features. It does look incredibly well, but it actually has white, vegan-friendly leatherette, melange tone fabric and cork. Industrial vintage matches brown vegan-friendly leatherette with denim-coloured fabric and a darker cork. So you know I've talked about infrastructure a good number of times at this stage, how, well, hit and miss it's become. It's getting better. It's slowly unfolding into something kind of useful now, in that you can kind of depend on. But even while I've been here, that corner that's charging behind me, he had only 10% battery when I turned up. Now he's not with the car, so I just pressed the button on the thing to see what he got left. So he's going to be here for, what, 45 minutes? And I've just plugged in as well. I'm on the 50 kilowatt charger and I'm quite low, although my battery is much smaller, so it should charge up in a short space of time. But since I've been here, two other cars have come and gone, electric cars. One guy didn't even get out. He just seen two electric cars here and went off again because there's only two plugs. When the corner's plugged in, you can't plug in another car. Well, you can, but it's not going to charge for you. It's still a seriously busy spot. So realistically, what I would demand of first of all, ESB and anyone else who's installing network chargers is, why don't you install a bank where all these empty car spaces are? Why isn't there a bank of 22 kilowatt chargers? Or even 7.5? I'd be okay with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. This is a single charge point. There's no slow charge point here at all. No, they're just fast chargers. That's all they've got here, instead of putting in the slow charge, which people would be happy enough to sit at a 22 kilowatt while they're having a cup of coffee over there, you know. I think it's a no-brainer. But what I do like is some infrastructure things that are happening. This is an easy-go tag, which you may not have seen these before. This came with my Mazda car, so Mazda have given me this thing to charge with. This can be used at any charge point, essentially, so you just fob and go. And it's charged, well, this one's charged back to Mazda, but it'll be charged back to you as well. I kind of like these ideas, but I really want to use a bank card. I really want to use Apple Pay. Just beep, go. I just want to pay on a spot. Now, Revolut, what's wrong with Revolut using it? I don't want to freak out too much about infrastructure because it's all changing. It's changing and evolving on a daily basis. All kinds of things going on. I even have my own fob with me, which is, and this one here is fairly well battered at this stage, but this one here, which allows me to be able to use EV Box to do the same sort of a thing as EasyGo. So let me know in the comments if you want a video about the different ways and how much you pay for charging and who delivers what and what companies to go in, all that sort of stuff. Let me know if you want to know in the comments, and we'll do a research video on how much these things cost. But anyway, what we're going to do now is get back, well, I'm going to get a cup of coffee, then I'm going to get back to charging this so I can bring it for a drive, like Bjorn, 1,000 kilometers. Not interested in that, that's far too much effort for that. Look, I have a bit of a problem with charging there. So if I'm going to go less range, I'm going to want to get the battery closer to 100% every time I charge. Follow my logic on this one, right? So I want to go to maximum range. And so I'm going to actually spend longer on the charge point. Because if I had 400 kilometers range, or 500, whatever the range is, you could charge it to 200 kilometers range and go on with you, you know, which is only like half a tank. Whereas now I have to sit there for over an hour charging. That charge point might be a bit slow as well. I didn't really look at that. I wasn't really paying attention. I was more paying attention to start the car properly would be good, wouldn't it? I turned it off now. There we go, now we're starting up. All right. So anyway, now, as you can see possibly from that camera, I have 126 kilometers range. I need to go into the computer. There's no way of just changing that. That's active cruise control, limiter, info, probably this. Ooh, look, speedo. I'm going to tell you that there's 657 kilometers on the clock at the bottom there. That's what we're going to go by, right? 657. I have 126 kilometers of driving range to go. And we're 3/4 of a tank of juice. It's very quiet. Now, one thing I will mention though, it's unusual to see what Mazda did. Mazda have added an engine note. I won't say engine. It sounds like a 1990s arcade game engine. It sounds like an engine if it was put through a bad speaker. But it's meant to be a sort of a note, at least something that can make noise for you when you accelerate. And I thought, this is stupid, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just leave it silent? But then I realised that, so the problem I have with ID3 and Model 3 and all these kind of electric cars out there is they're really quiet when you're driving along, which is a good thing. But when you're accelerating, you're having a bit of fun, you actually want to hear the fun. I think audio makes an awful big difference to how you feel about a car. Look how dribbly lads become when there's a V8 coming in front of you, you know, or a big sound of a brrr, engine coming at you. You know, it's an exciting noise, whereas electric cars are just like, whoo. And given that electric cars can sound like anything, technically, you could literally make an electric car sound however you want because they don't really make a whole lot of noise. Unless when you go down to the other end of the market, you find some of the smaller brand cars make a lot of rotation whirring sound. There's a lot of you can hear noise back, but these cars, it's silent in here. Nothing until you push your foot down, and then there's a little brrr. It just sounds like a little squirt. It's a nice little feature to have on the car. So I don't do that because I want to get good range out of this now. So I still have 126 kilometers range. Now another thing I noticed as well is there's not a whole lot of ways of making the car you know, give you back energy from deceleration. I don't see a lot of buttons that I can press to make things happen, to make the car go. You know, I'm sure if you sat down for the next, you know, half an hour and studied the literature, there's probably something in here, but there's no B button, there's no nothing there actually when I'm looking at it. Nothing really. What's that do? It's a favorite button. All right, that's collision avoidance, and then television radio stations. Weird. There is an app for Mazda. Mazda did kind of give me access to it, but it would not send me a text message to confirm my phone number, so I couldn't get into the app. Town driving, here we go. God, everybody drives the same car, don't they? It's just all kind of miserable grey SUV yokes, don't they? Add a bit of colour to your lives. Like, really? Hyundai Tucsons and Nissan Qashqais. There's nothing wrong with the cars. It's just people don't seem to have an imagination at all. They all buy grey, white, black, silver. Anyway, to prove my point there, Ford Focus drove by the silver. There's a Kia e-Soul behind, or Kia Rio behind that silver. It's all the colours. Have you seen this car? People taking pictures of it because it's so red and beautiful. And these two lanes here don't make any sense, by the way. Just thought I'd tell you that. Without a cycle lane, like, what were you thinking? Honest to God, you repainted this. I'm going to rant now. They repainted this whole thing last year. This whole place was resurfaced and repainted. And they didn't put in a bicycle lane. Not one. Not a single one. Nothing. Nothing down here. There's two lanes of traffic, both going in the same directions on both sides. It's like a bleeding dual carriageway through the middle of a town, and there isn't even a cycle lane on it. End rant. Now we'll get out the other end of Portlaoise here and we'll hit the electric highway and go on up towards Junction 14. Now, things I really like about this car. Heads up display. Tesla, seriously, heads up display. Put one in. It's not that much money. Really isn't. Your car is already fairly expensive. So stick a heads up display in, will you, for God's sake. Take it off that one screen. I also like that there's actually physical dials and things in this car that just are there. They're very smooth in their operation, they're very reliable things. The infotainment system, Mazda could do with a little bit of work. It's quite Spartan in its look. It all works okay, it does, works fine. Just it's a little bit Spartan looking, and I suppose that's good and bad in its own way. There is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this car, of course. You can have that in the car at all times. It works perfectly well. It's not a touchscreen. It's too far away to be a touchscreen. It's all the way up there. I like that noise, the little noise it makes. This has all just been resurfaced as well, by the way, and no cycle lane. No, here's a hard shoulder. You can run and walk in the hard shoulder. That's all right by us to find. Sure, what more do you need but the dirty, filthy hard shoulder covered in filth and dirt and stones and everything else? It'll be fine for your cycling. So we're up now to the 80 kilometre mark, and we're not kilometres per hour. I have 663 on the clock and 124 kilometres to go. God, I'm glad I bought a coffee. Now, the problem with junction 14 or 17 is that there's only one charge point there. It's a 50 kilowatt, and that's your lot on the junction. So if I get there and there's any other cars there, I'm going to have to queue like other people, you know, like normal individuals, not like special people like me. And I want to see in the sat nav of the Mazda. How do I get to the sat nav? I want to go back to the Mazda sat nav. There we are. In navigation, I assume now I can press a button here somewhere and it'll come up with a list of things I can go for, yeah? No, I don't want to navigate here. I want places nearby. No, I won't do that. Mazda. Oh, down, I'm flipping around the screen now. How do you actually navigate anything? Add destination. Trial navigation and mute guidance. Right, let's try add destination then. So I want to go to a charge point. Charging stations, good stuff, yeah. Leicester Square, Portlaoise. No, I don't do that. Portlaoise. They're all the little ones in Portlaoise. Midway Food Court is listed as a charging point. That doesn't have a charging point, I know that. We're going to set the sat nav to do its, or the cruise control to do its job now. There we go. This has active cruise control as well, by the way. You can see me here now. I am routing through this, see if I can find what I'm looking for. Monstrevan Canal Harbour, no, it's a slow charger. Train station, slow charger, no good. Kildare, Monstrevan, no. That's Kildare town, I'm getting further away. Where's junction 17? It's not there. I know where it is, but it's not on the sat nav. Just wondering. A couple of features as well to look out for as well. You can have on your Apple CarPlay, if you want to, you can have a thing called a better, what's it called? A better something or other. It's a better route planner, but it's got a charge. You want to use it in Apple CarPlay mode. So you have to just install it on your phone and use it for nothing, because no one's going to pay a charge using Apple CarPlay. Google Maps and Apple Maps also have all the charge points more or less in it. You should search for them. You will need to register with ESB. You will need to register with Go Cards or whatever they're called. You have to set up all these things to get fuel. Now, another bugbear I have, of course, is when you sign up with ESB, you have to give them a deposit of €20 before you get any charge off them. You have to give them 20 quid. But if you use the 20 quid or not is not relevant. That's their money now. They can keep it. And a lot of them do that deposit feature as well. Okay, I've made it to the exit for junction 17. Junction 14. I can't remember the numbers, lads. You need a name, like Monstrevan Junction or something. It's like I've written the thing up there, junction 14. Anyway, I've made it to junction 14. And my current fuel economy is 23.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So that's fine for motorway, but obviously you want to get that average down if you want to get the maximum range out of this. So I have 96 kilometers left, and my current mileometer or kilometer thing says 684. So that's not doing too bad, really. The battery's gone, that's what that beep was there beside me. The battery's roared, that one. So we're down to one camera. Thanks Sony for making batteries that are so small that they don't last very long. Which draws me on to my other point. Sony made this camera here, which is brilliant. The camera's brilliant, but they put these little skinny batteries in it because they want to keep the weight down so you can put the camera on your head. Okay, so you could use it on a motorbike, or you could use it, you know, so the battery's not, oh, it weighs a ton. Unlike that camera, which they put a big battery into, and that big battery can last days. And I literally do mean the A6600 camera that I'm using to make these films, I charge every 2 or 3 days. And it's brilliant. I have 5 batteries for this in my backpack. I have 1 battery for that. That's the difference, Mazda. The battery in this is too small. And I'm sorry to say, but it really is quite frustrating when you're thinking about trying to save time, save money, save the environment, save the planet, save all that sort of stuff. But the reality of it is that I wouldn't have got to Dublin today on what I've got in the charge. And when even if I did scrape into Dublin somewhere, I would have had to charge at a fast charge point on the other end, or I would have gotten nowhere. And here I am in junction 14 now, pulling into the fast charge point here, which is empty. I'm not going to charge up here, I'm just going to drive back on the same charge, but I want to make a point here, is just where I'm going to get. So we're going to do the readings here. I'm not going to pull up to the charge point, I'm just going to do the readings here. Right, so we have 96 kilometers range left. I did an average of 22.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and I have 684 kilometers left to range. So swap out the battery in this, we're going to drive back to Portlaoise, save the fuel there, turn it off. Back in a sec. So one feature I did want to bring your attention to while I'm wandering around the camera here is the width of that door opening. Look how wide that goes, right angle to the car. Really does come all the way up. Now this could be a problem when the wind is blowing and it drags the door wide open and you smash the car next to you. That could be a problem. But there's a reason why that one opens so wide, is because this one opens this way. That door is quite small though, not a lot of room in there. I really do mean it's quite hard to get into. Once you're in, it's okay. I'm all right now. I mean, I could close the door now and be happy enough in here. But realistically, would I be comfortable in this in a long journey? Well, actually, with the size of the battery, I won't be going on too many long journeys anyway. But, you know, would you be happy in here for a long time? I don't think so. I don't think so. You'd have to shift that forward a little bit. It's quite tight in here and fairly dark, as those little porthole windows are quite small. Anyway, design, very good. Practicality, not so great. Right, let's rock and roll. Got my new batteries in the Sony. I'll talk about batteries again along the way. While the car is really good though, I really like the car. It's a lovely thing to drive. It really is. Mazda's just done an incredible job at making it feel like a nice place to be, a nice car to drive. Anyway, what we're going to do is drive back the upstairs. So we did 22.2 kilowatt hours on the motorway, so we're going to reset that now back to 0, and we're going to take the smaller routes back, the back road back to Portlaoise. It should be relatively the same distance. We're still at 685 kilometers. I have 96 kilometers range. I'll easily make this journey. Now it still remains to be seen where we're going with batteries. We've had 10 years of electric cars, but they've gone, in the last 2 years, battery technology has moved on quite a bit. I mean, way beyond where it was. Hydrogen is a dead end. Hydrogen has been a dead end for a long time. Still is a dead end now. It's not going to change. I don't believe that hydrogen is really going to pick up any good steam now. Even Lexus has brought out the UX 300e, and you know, Toyota plan an electric car as well, full electric. So we'll see that develop over time. But right now, I just don't see hydrogen being the way. So battery is it. And a lot of car companies are going all in on batteries. So they're claiming that they're going to stop producing petrol and diesel engines by 2030, which they can't produce. There is agreements going into place that they're not able to produce petrol and diesel cars, personal cars, after 2030. So that's an issue. But it's not an unresolvable issue. We still don't know where we are. We still don't know if this is the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do. There's still a lot of negotiations and working out that needs to be done on all of these kind of cars. So I'm still continuing on here. I'm just after leaving Monstrevan behind me right now. I'm now getting back out onto the bigger road again. This used to be the main road from Dublin to Cork and Limerick. The main road was this road. You drove from Dublin, you came right down here. I can still remember to this day the sea, a snake of cars, like a dragon of red lights heading away in the distance and white lights coming towards you at night time. Absolutely awesome sight to remember. But these days, nothing. Just one car out in front of me. This road is actually pretty good. It's actually not a bad road. It needs a little bit of work here and there. Speed limit's 100 kilometers an hour along here, so I can actually do a good bit of speed, which is all right. My fuel economy is increased to 14.2 along here, as it is the speed limit here. We'll let the car take the strain. It is undoubtedly one of the nicest interiors I've been in. It's a shame they didn't do the two-tone colour on the dashboard like they did on the doors, with the grey on the top and the kind of brown cork feel reflected here. I would like to have seen that in the dashboard. It would be really nice. But it's a comfortable dashboard to look at because it's a darker colour. Very quiet cabin as well, by the way. I never get bored on a long drive. Do any of you get bored on? I never. I could sit all day at the wheel of a car and never get bored. That's the same coffee, by the way. I don't put milk in my coffee, so it never really goes cold. It's just cool now. We'll add a bit of resistance there to that one. Turn it off again. If you want to be really active on the all resistance stuff, you can be, because you have flappy paddles there to do that with. Even at full resistance, is not very much resistance. Doesn't feel like a lot. But there's no oh yeah, I've only got a tiny readout. So there's only off, yeah, off, and then very, very minimal amount of resistance stuff. So I have it on level 1 now. That's not very much resistance. You wouldn't be able to drive that just one pedal, you know, because you can do that in some of the other cars. On level 2, I think you could. So I've level 2 resistance turned on now. Level 2 downwards. Let's just see now. Oh yeah, you could ride that in one pedal now, just with level 2 on there. That's pretty good. I like that. That's actually the way I like driving through towns, believe it or not. Just the one pedal, it's nice. In the country land, if you want to say hello, you go back your hand. If you know the person, it's totally different. Oi, bud! Beep, flashlights, all that sort of stuff. If you don't know them, then it's just a finger. How we going? That's it. I just said hello to the cars there, by the way. That was me doing it. Everybody's waving back at me now when I do that, because this is country land. Everybody knows that is the universal signal of how you. There's the charge point over there, by the way. There's a Nissan Leaf on it. We left the Nissan Leaf in Junction 17 as well. So common, the Nissan Leafs are everywhere. Now we're going to hop off a charger here for a bit as well, because I want to see if that CCS one, which is now free, charges quicker than 50. And I want to see if it does it any faster on that battery. And I know, battery condition, the car be like, you have to condition your battery and do your thing. I don't care. Irrelevant to me. I want to charge a car and be gone. I have no time to waste. This is not time to waste. Right, let's hook it up for charging. Well, that's rather slow. Initializing charging process. Wait for link. Reminder to everybody, when you're charging an electric car, do not walk away till that says it's charging. Do not walk away. I've done this before. You walk away and you find out it's not actually charging. Nothing's happening. When you come back to the car, it's dead. So it's pre-charging now, so doing well, right? 42 minutes. That's good. That's more like it. Look at this, look at this. Oh, 35.2. We'll see if it ramps up in a minute. 42 minutes to full is what it says there. I'm going to charge the car up. We're going to have a look and see what our range was. We've 81 kilometers in, 40 minutes to a charge, to a full charge. That's what we're at right now. Mazda's playing a big gamble here, boys. Mazda's playing a big gamble. I'm not sure it's going to pay off. I really, really hope it does, because the car is brilliant. The car is beautiful to drive. It's lovely to own. It's lovely to drive. It's lovely to be in. It's all good. But whether the short-range battery is going to pay off in the end, I don't know, Mazda. I don't know. It means you have to spend more time with these things, not less. It's not that you're spending less time at them. You're actually charging the car up more because you can go less distance. So you're going to try and charge to 100% more often. Do that at home, you won't have a problem. Like me, I have a home charge point. Get one of them. Definitely get one of those. That's the way to go. Less time at these jokes. I'm so conflicted. The car, ace, brilliant. Don't like the doors, the two doors opening like this. I don't like that. But the car itself is brilliant. Drives well, feels good, very refined, incredibly luxurious inside, vegan friendly seats, all that kind of stuff is really good, really, really good. Just the small battery will be the letdown for me. I don't think I could cope with a battery I have to plug in basically every couple of days. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you hit the subscribe button at this point. Please push the video out if you can. Leave me a comment down below if you want something different. If you want to go through the numbers, you want to find out how much charging is, you want to find out how much things are, let me know and I'll investigate all of those sort of things. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side of charging up a car again.